Welcome back to Skeram. As you can see, things are a little bit more lively here in Ironforge compared to my last video. I know they're all in my guild, but I didn't pay them to be here, I swear. Just sort of so happens that everyone on the server is in my guild, or was in my guild. You see, we actually have a few new ones. In fact, even though the number of 60s has remained relatively consistent, maybe we get a few more than we used to, the number of lower levels has really exploded. Whereas before there may have been 20 people in the 1 to 59 range, now there are 1 to 200 at any given time. It's really been astounding to see, and you get a better sense of it when you travel to Stormwind. Stormwind's become kind of the new lobby hub. The place is packed by Skeram standards, at least. Maybe not by your Faralina or your Herod standards, but for Skeram, there's having dozens of people running around, begging for bags, looking for guilds, forming Deadmines groups. It really reminds me of what this server once was, way back in September and October. It actually used to have queues, funnily enough. It really does feel like a new server launch, because all these players just simultaneously decided to re-roll on a mostly non-existent faction. There are a few of us. So many people talk about how fun Classic's launch was and how they miss that. And really, if nothing else, all these new people are getting to experience that all over again. And I have no idea how many of them are going to stick it out until 60, but to me, it really doesn't matter. I think they've already really gotten their money's worth here on Skeram. This all really kicked off because a popular streamer known as Asmongold watched my video live on his stream, and combined with the original video, these have been viewed over 500,000 times.
So this shit-ass guild on a dead server has more legendaries than my guild. I mean, this is ridiculous, man. Like, Blizzard, if I don't get a Thunder Fury today, I'm gonna be pissed. Yeah, exactly. I don't know. I feel like the whole story is pretty interesting, but it's certainly not where I would want to play, right? I feel like I'm being called upon a crusade in Skeram. Yeah, fucking right, dude. Best guild recruitment out of 2020. I think it actually is.
It's really crazy to think about, actually. I'm glad so many people have gotten to see what a unique and weird server Skeram is, and that hundreds of them, if not thousands, have gotten to experience it firsthand for themselves. Alliance now make up 16% of Skeram's low-level population. This may not seem like much, but considering that Alliance only make up 1% of the level 60s, I think it's really remarkable. It's a pretty huge jump, all things considered, and it brings up an interesting question, which is, can you revive a seemingly dead faction? Can you bring it back from the brink of destruction? And I don't know the answer. But there is one Horde guild that's doing their best to make sure it doesn't happen. They've declared an all-out war on us and even made a video about it. The reaction wasn't super positive, as you can see, but Asmongold did react to it on his stream.
This is a 99% Horde-dominated server. And the Horde are sitting there waiting to kill any of the last survivors. They're just sitting there, bravo. Two whole raids covering the BWL Horde.
As far as I can tell, they're upset about what I said in the last video. But I really don't think I could have highlighted some of the positive aspects of playing Alliance on this server without offending them. It is what it is, and the Skeram lore just gets deeper and more complex by the day. You never know what'll happen next, and you really just gotta tune in to find out. The reaction of the majority of the Horde on this server to this new influx of allies has been very positive. I've received so many encouraging messages from these people, and a good number of them are even rolling ally to help out, which is really cool to see. I think the truth of the matter is that most people on any faction rolled on a PvP server to experience at least some dynamic interaction with the enemy in the open world. And, well, that requires an enemy. Now, it may not have worked out the way people expected it or wanted it to, certainly not on Skeram, but I really don't believe most players here want to be on a PvE server. And hey, maybe all this ganking and talk of a faction war will succeed in making most of the new players quit. Maybe most of them would have quit anyways, I really don't know. One thing I do know, though, is that about a month ago we could barely get 35 people into BWL, and now we have enough to consider starting a second raid group. Every night we have more than 100 people online, whereas before we'd have been lucky to get 20. almost every day it seems some max level transfers over or someone hits 60. And with ZG out, we can really bring everyone along to experience raiding for themselves and get some decent gear. Nobody's left out, and I really mean nobody. Hell, one of the guys in this raid here had transferred over maybe an hour before. We've been bringing in 55s. Literally, we'll take anyone, and it's been awesome to see. The bizarre social experiment that is Skeram has taken another strange turn, to say the least, and I'm not exactly sure where it'll end up. Many of you have now experienced it firsthand, and I hope you've enjoyed yourselves, at least a little bit. If you haven't yet, I'd say give it a try. You may like what you see.